This segment's being sponsored by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Join us in preserving and protecting Tennessee's wildlife.
As you can see here in West Tennessee, it's raining. Actually calling for storms all day long, so I'm not going to be able to accomplish anything outside. But when we think about storms, actually one of my favorite Jesus stories has to do with a storm. See, one day he and the disciples were out on the lake, and all of a sudden a storm blew in out of nowhere. And it had to be a pretty big storm because the Bible said that these disciples, these professional fishermen, they were terrified. So they went to Jesus and woke him up. He was asleep and said, "Are you not even concerned that we may drown?" And it says that Jesus got up, spoke to the wind and the waves and said, "Peace, be still," and the storm stopped. This is one of my favorite stories, not just because he calmed the storm, but because I know if Jesus had chosen not to calm the storm, those disciples would have still been safe because they were with him in the boat, and also because he loved them. You know, in life, storms blow in on us many times out of the blue, don't they? And they can feel like they're overtaking us. And we can cry out to God and ask him to remove the storm, to calm the wind and the waves. And sometimes he does that. But if he chooses not to, one thing we can do is we can trust him in the storm because he loves us. So my challenge for you this week is this. First of all, make sure you're in the boat with Jesus. It's the best place to be. The second thing, if you're going through a storm, if he chooses not to remove it from your life, you can trust him because he loves you. He sees you, and he's not going to leave you. Thanks for watching this week. We pray that you are blessed. And always remember, keep shooting straight.
All right, everybody, this next segment's being sponsored by Taylor's Archery. You guys can find them at 100 East Lauderdale Street in Tullahoma, Tennessee, or give owner Tracy Taylor a call at 931-563-7706. And if you want to get down there and see them this weekend, guys, they're going to be down at the Total Archery Challenge. That's coming up this weekend. We're going to try to get down there ourselves for a little while tomorrow. But get down there and not only get out there and shoot your bow and have a good time with it, but support some of our local vendors. Taylor's will be down there. They're always involved in these local events, and we appreciate it. All right, welcome back. You guys can call us now if you'd like to, 615-737-7767. And while we're waiting on some of those calls, I'm gonna start getting into some of this turkey vocabulary over here in this dictionary I got beside me. But you know, Randall, obviously tonight we're talking about some of the more subtle movements that turkeys make, the fact that they're a little more patternable than we give them credit for sometimes. But actually just now, as we were going out on the break, we were talking about something that we both find very important, and that's a lot of those low, very low volume, subtle sounds that the hens make that as a hunter, and until you've ever had one that just came in right on top of you, you know, or got real close to you, you would never hear it. And a lot of times you think that gobbler's down there just gobbling and you hear him and you can't figure it out. But what's going on is that hen's over making these noises we can't hear.
That's right. At least one or two walking towards him on the ground already. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Right. So, I mean, it's those little purrs and putts and clucks. As far as if you're going to use a call, I guess what I'm getting at is if you don't hear those hens, if they're not over here yelping and making a bunch of noise, it only makes sense that you don't need to be doing it either. You know, you need to stick with those soft calls, and you do a lot of that.
That's what I do.
You do a lot of that, and you call a lot of birds in with a shopping bag too. You know, and a lot of you guys already know what I'm talking about. For those that don't, one of Randall's things that he's kind of famous for is the Kroger bag, so to speak, but the bag of leaves. Yeah. You know, and you can take and use that bag of leaves, and I called a bird in last year that we aired on the show that I pretty much called the entire way in with that bag, just crunching it in my hand. So a lot of times it's these subtle sounds and just knowing the biology of the turkey and what they're doing rather than just taking off after them.
Well, you take a turkey when he hatches out. You know, say she's got 10 eggs under there. When they hatch, he sits there for a day or so to let them dry out, you know, and everything. And the first sound that baby turkey hears out of that shell is when she steps out of that nest.
Yeah.
Till he leaves her, he hears her feet all the time.
Yeah.
And mama ain't gonna hurt you. Them sounds right there, not going to hurt you. You can take this. It don't really matter what color it is. I use a Kroger bag just because it's brown. And anybody that hunts with me will tell you I've got at least 2 of them in my vest.
Yeah.
And I've always got, that's a little double reed call. Harold Knight made the first one that I ever had. I think he called it a limb hanger. I bought it down at Crutcher's store a long time ago. It's a double reed with slits on each side of it. I got no buddy sit here and made these for me, and they stretch these things just right. You're not, if you're looking for a real sharp cutting call, for a real crisp call, it's not going to do it. But if you want to kill turkey, this thing right here will kill turkey.
Soft noises.
That's what you'll hear out in the fields if you're listening. Don't listen for a turkey caller.
Yeah.
And that gobbler will gobble at that, and you think, well, he didn't hear that.
Yeah.
And that's it, especially right now. Early in the morning, you hear them gobble. You think they're coming to you, and they'll walk right back down to where they was at. That's that territory we was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
They're used to them hens. You'll hear them little hens coming to her. And a hen, when it comes time for nesting, they're naturally quiet anyway. They're hiding.
Yeah, they don't want predators to know they're there. They're not making a lot of noise.
Yeah, but you can take this thing right here, and if you can't blow a call or if you can't use any other call, you can walk, and them gobblers will bust loose.
Yeah.
You scratch leaves, and he'll gobble. You can call turkeys that right there and nothing else.
Yeah.
But I like that right there, you know, just so he can hear.
The combination of the two.
But they can hear so much further than people want to even believe that they can.
It's pretty amazing. And you talking about the bag too, I just want to throw one thing with that. We do a lot of, go in and set up real quick, tight on a bird or fast. I'll clear the area where I'm going to sit so that I don't make a bunch of noise sitting there. But I'll do it in that sense right there. And you're basically calling birds. You used to, I'd worry about making all that noise, but no, man, now you just use that pattern, and it'll call a bird in. You'll call a bird in clearing your seat out. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing how it works. We got a caller here. Let's go on and grab our first caller. Eddie, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are y'all doing this evening?
Doing great. We appreciate you calling. How can we help you tonight?
Well, that first film that y'all had, I know you was shooting an 835 Mossberg.
Yeah.
What's your favorite load in that shotgun?
Well, all right. First off, I'll tell you the truth that I have shot many different ones over the years through it. And when I shot lead loads, I always, or at least the last 7 or 8 years, I've shot that gun for 20, I don't know, close to 25 years. I've had it a long time. But I shot the Kent Diamond Shot lead number 5s through it, 3.5s for years. And I always have shot a Jellyhead, Primos Jellyhead 690 choke. Now, when my good buddy here, sitting beside me, introduced me to TSS a few years ago, and I realized I could drop to a 3-inch shell, I started shooting a 3-inch TSS number 8 Apex shell. That's what I shoot now with that same choke. But to be honest with you, that gun's kind of old Bessie to me. I mean, I have shot all sorts of loads through it over the years. Usually I have always preferred a number 5 shot. I don't know why, but it's just usually patterned better for me in that gun. But that's a 28-inch barrel gun, and it's not the best crawling around, through the woods and through the ditches gun. But if you need to reach out and grab one or something I'm confident in, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah, I've got an 835 myself, and it'll reach out there and get them.
It will.
Have you shot any of those Winchester Longbeards in it?
I have. It's been a few years ago, but I actually, one of the first shows that I filmed here with Southern Woods and Waters, at that point in time I had some Longbeards that a buddy of mine wanted me to try on one of the first shows we filmed, and I did, and killed a bird with them too. Like I say, I shot them with several types, but my number 1 lead load was always those Kents.
Yeah. Okay. Well, appreciate you for sharing that with me.
Absolutely. Have a great night. Thanks for calling.
Okay, you too. Okay.
All right. JC, how are you doing tonight? JC, how are you tonight? Can you hear me? Hello?
Hello.
How are you tonight, JC?
Pretty good.
Just we're gonna, I got a couple questions I need to ask you.
Sure.
You ever heard of you ever heard of getting a ticket for being down? Have you ever heard of getting a ticket down at the ramp? Pretty good. How are you?
Down at what ramp?
Like when you put it in the ramp, you know, you pay $5 and you go down there and you untie and you bolt and everything. You ever heard of anybody getting a ticket for being down there too long?
Not that I know of, no.
This is.
I think we're getting some feedback. You probably need to mute your television. Can you mute your television for us? I think you're getting feedback because of that.
Okay.
So you're talking about getting a ticket for being at the boat ramp too long?
Yeah, you know, I don't do that. I just try to get down there. You know, sometimes I'll take off my prop and then untie the things in the back and then have my wife to back me in.
Yeah.
But the guy come down there and said, you can't get a ticket for being down at the boat ramp too long, which I don't try to tie it up. It shows respect for people.
Yeah, I've never heard of anyone getting a ticket for that, no. Not at all. I mean, yes, like you say, it's a respect thing. You always want to try to be ready to go, you know, once you get up there. And another one we always hit on is turn your headlights off if it's dark outside. But no, really, I do not know anything about anyone getting a ticket for that, no.
Yeah. Okay, I got one more question.
Sure.
I've got these senior hunting licenses. Do I need any kind of stamp? I don't hunt that much with the turkeys and deer. For turkey or deer, if I got the senior license, do I need anything else?
Not unless you're going to hunt a WMA. You'll still need the Type 94, unless you've got the lifetime senior sportsman, and because there's two different licenses for that. Other than that, you would just need a Type 94, or of course, if you duck hunt, you'd need a federal duck stamp.
No, I don't duck hunt. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. Have a good night. Thank you for calling.
You too, man.
All right, guys, we're going to get ready to go over and do this week's tip of the week. It's being brought to you by Phoenix Custom Quality Rods, and y'all can find them at phoenixrods.com. Or here in the state of Tennessee, call Mr. Jim Brewer, 931-213-1455. All right, welcome back. Randall, what you got for us now on our tip? You done been giving a few away, but what you got for the official tip of the week tonight?
All right. Right now, don't get disgusted on your calling and the birds not just running up there and picking your eyes out. They just don't hardly do that. It takes them a pretty good while. They got the same old territory. We've been talking about that all night. They've got the same old territory, and they'll leave, and it seems like they like the sun behind them. If you're up a ridge and the sun is up there shining right down in their eyes, it seems like it's always hard to get one to come up that hill. So in a day's time, they usually just make a circle. And everybody says, which tree did he roost in yesterday? Well, that don't mean he's going to be in that tree tonight. They don't just,
That's right.
They don't have mailboxes, they don't have watches. They
That's
just,
right.
you know. And don't get in a hurry. If you hear about some fast kills and all that, that's luck. I killed one the other morning at 10 after 6.
It happens.
I've gone in there in the morning and stay in there all day, especially right now. And we'll go back to that. People talk about deer hunting for them and they're not doing nothing. But that turkey is in there where you are. And you might sit down there and in a minute, that all of a sudden there's that big red head coming up out of nothing. He's heard you walking. People don't realize that a turkey associates you with a turkey when you're walking, you know.
He does.
So just stay simple with it. That will kill you.
Don't overthink it. Yeah.
That will kill you turkeys.
That's
right there.
Don't overthink it. Don't overdo it.
That's right. He's just a big old barnyard chicken.
That's right.
With a big
it is,
barnyard.
if you think about it that way. Well, guys, we're going to get ready to take another quick break. We'll be back here in just a minute with some more Southern Woods and Waters.